Hey guys, some really interesting news came out recently that I wanted to talk about. A couple of the biggest theater chains in the US have announced that they are no longer going to be screening any movies that get released in theaters and simultaneously on demand. So anything that goes to streaming platforms as it tries to enter theaters, they're just not going to show it. This is all hypothetical right now since pretty much every theater is closed, but when they reopen, if this pans out, it could have some serious consequences for the film industry as a whole. And it's gotten a lot of people asking, is this the beginning of the end for theaters? Are theaters dying? So I want to take a look at what this might mean for post-production sound, both from the viewer's perspective experiencing it, as well as the creative workflow behind it. First and foremost, obviously the experience is very different. If you go to a theater and you watch, Dunkirk in IMAX, you're going to be blown away by all of the sounds that are happening in that surround IMAX environment. Or, even Atmos, it's going to be a wildly, wildly different experience than a barely stereo system on an iPad, for example. And I mean, home theater entertainment has come a long way, so you can have surround sound and you can have all that kind of stuff there. But at the end of the day, it's still not as powerful as seeing it on the big screen. In the post-sound workflow, everything for the theatrical version is done first. So all of your sound editing, all of your mixing for the theater version of a film happens initially, and then from there, all those creative decisions, all that detail, all that quality gets pared down until you end up with either a home theater version or, a stereo streaming version. So again, it's going from most demanding workflows down to the smallest. If you take away the necessity of a theatrical mix, that really doesn't leave you with that kind of complexity. So I wonder how that will affect and how that will change the necessities of the workflow there. The other thing is the vast majority of people do not have crazy screening rooms in their houses. And so if theaters aren't really around in the same capacity anymore, do we really need as many of those big feature theatrical dub stages or even the large TV stages to be working the way that they do? Or can we move towards something like the music industry did, where all of these big studios kind of disappeared as streaming took off, and really only a few big names were able to kind of survive that, and the whole world kind of transitioned into this much more, fast-paced and smaller operation where you had a lot of independent creators and really not very many big names. Also, speaking of the complexities of the theatrical workflow, you have Dolby with its Atmos systems, and it's all calibrated. You have various different speaker installations that are huge and really important to that experience. You have laser projectors that are very, very precision, finely tuned instruments to display the best quality picture that you can get. And the acoustics of these spaces are really complicated too. So there's all this support infrastructure that could change drastically, maybe not overnight, but very quickly. Also, pro sound people put a lot of time and attention to detail into the soundtracks of the pieces that they're working on. And feature films especially allow for a lot more time and creativity because they're not limited to like a weekly release schedule like TV shows, or, we have to have it now, like the advertising world or anything like that. So a lot of time, months go by where they're fine-tuning every little detail and getting every single footstep and every single little tiny motion on these, scenes that are going to be seen on 4-story tall screens. Whereas in the television world, best case scenario, a lot of the time, you're going to be watching this on a, 60, 70 inch flat screen television. You're going to see detail, but it's not going to be like the overwhelming craziness of a real theater. Also, there are a lot more time constraints in television where you have maybe a week to get almost an hour's worth of content done to the highest standards of expectations. So by nature of the workflow, really, you're going to have to figure out where you can try and maybe focus your efforts more on one section than others, and things aren't going to be as well covered as they might with a feature. So that being said, are we going to see a suffering of the quality of the sound? Think of the average sound quality of a YouTube video. Is it significantly high? No, it's a YouTube video. Where, primetime television, by contrast, there is a lot of attention to detail that still goes into that. So will we see a shift in that? I'm not sure. Also, is this going to change the type of content that gets made? There are definitely a lot of films that I think are made for theaters. You should go and see them in the theatrical environment. And there are a lot of films that get made that are really more TV movies, and Netflix is sort of the TV movie hub of the world at this point. A lot of the things that they distribute or a lot of the things that they create are not necessarily pieces of content that would do well in the theatrical environment. And so it makes sense to be a more at-home delivery platform. Now, obviously, I'm not a decision maker in any of this, but if somebody were to come to me, right now and say, is this cinema dead? I would say, I hope not. I love going to theaters. I love seeing movies in that kind of environment. But I think personally that this is probably the closest that we've been to seeing a massive shift away from theatrical distribution and more into direct streaming into homes. But I'm sure studios and theaters are constantly butting heads. Maybe not as visibly to the public as this, but I have to imagine they're going to come to an arrangement that's going to be beneficial for everybody. And at the end of the day, I think people want to go see movies in theaters. So I personally would love to see this work out as normally as possible. I'm also really curious what you guys think. Do you want to see movies in theaters still? Do you think this is going to go in a different direction? How do you think this is going to change the landscape of the film world down the line? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you feel like supporting my channel, check out my affiliate links in the description. I'm over on Instagram at AXK, so come follow me over there. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And as always, thanks for watching.